I am Ahonu, and together with my beloved Aingeal Rose, we welcome you to another consciousness expanding interview. Today we continue a profound and illuminating conversation between our dear friend and longtime author Shirley Ward and Sara Devoy, who's a gifted polarity and craniosacral therapist from West Cork in the southwest of Ireland. Shirley has devoted her life to exploring birth trauma and has been a true pioneer in bringing pre- and perinatal psychotherapy into the wider field of healing and awareness. We've been honoured to publish 3 of her books: Fractals from the Womb, Healing Birth, Healing Earth, and Birth, Earth, Our Future, all available on Amazon and wherever good books are sold. In this episode, she also gives us a sneak preview of her 4th book, which is coming next year. Our interviewer, Sara Devoy, runs her own polarity and craniosacral practice in West Cork. She trained in Switzerland with Dr. William Emerson, founder of pre- and perinatal psychology, and later in the UK with craniosacral teachers she had long admired since her polarity training in the 1990s. Sara says, "It continues to be a privilege to witness clients rediscovering their potency and aliveness. Craniosacral therapy settles our nervous system, and when combined with pre- and perinatal psychology, the insights are extraordinary." Shirley's work has taken her all over the world. She's lectured internationally, including at the United Nations in Vienna and at conferences across Europe, Russia, and America. She writes and teaches on birth trauma, bullying, depression, and even schizoid personality disorders, always emphasizing how our earliest impressions in the womb can shape our future and how deeply consciousness, healing, and the earth are interconnected. I had the privilege of studying under Shirley in Ireland when she co-founded with Alison Hunter the Amethyst Resource for Human Development in 1982. Together, they guided more than 2,500 people through experiential journeys from conception to birth using regression therapy, primal integration, and energy healing to help people access and process those early, often forgotten experiences. Alison passed away on the 8th of November 2019, and in this session, Shirley lovingly acknowledges Alison's immense contribution to healing birth and healing earth. Now, this is only a 30-minute conversation, but it's rich with insight. Here are some of the key things you'll find. The power of the preconception and prenatal period. How the months before and during pregnancy are critical in shaping our personality, our health, and future potential, far more than we've traditionally understood. Why nurturing begins before conception. How the emotional, relational, and energetic environment, even before we're conceived, lays a foundation for our outlook on life, our sense of possibility, and who we become. We'll find out about consciousness and our evolving humanity, how the evolution of human consciousness and its interconnectedness with the world around us is central to both personal growth and planetary transformation. We're going to hear Shirley speak of birth trauma and behaviour, how early imprints at or around birth can contribute to patterns like bullying, depression, narcissism, and schizoid personality disorders, not as labels to fear, but as invitations to deeper our understanding and healing. Humanity's rapid evolution and insights into how quickly humanity has evolved over the last century and how shifts in consciousness are woven into that story. We'll hear how healing early trauma for self and our planet and how that's working with our earliest traumas to catalyze our profound personal growth and contribute to the larger mission of healing the earth for future generations. We'll also find why it's never too late to heal, and why no matter your age or your background, we can revisit, understand, and transform those early scripts, and in doing so, help clear a path for the next generations. Shirley also shares fascinating research in epigenetics and generational healing, including studies by Professor Jethro Tulare at the University of Turku, which suggest that fathers may carry traces of childhood trauma in their sperm. It's an eye-opening look at how our life experiences can echo down the generations. And the heart of this episode is Shirley's concept of birth scripts become life scripts. These birth scripts are the unconscious patterns etched into each one of us by our experiences in the womb and during birth. They don't simply vanish after we're born, they continue as life scripts, shaping how we start and finish projects, how we relate to others, how we handle stress, opposition, and stuckness in daily life. And patterns like getting stuck or going around in circles or constantly meeting resistance can mirror the baby's felt experiences in the womb or during labour. Together, Sara and Shirley explore how birth trauma is not a life sentence, nor a diagnosis to be feared. Instead, when we meet these scripts with awareness and curiosity, they become gateways to healing and empowerment. So we're going to hear in this conversation how those patterns during birth, like feeling blocked, rejected, or under pressure, can show up in adult behaviours and life situations. How certain phobias may be traced back to prenatal experiences or early sensory impressions, such as the feeling of the umbilical cord or the baby's pre-birth environment. And most importantly, how knowledge, skilled therapy, and conscious intent can help us rewrite those scripts, break the negative cycles, and open space for positive change in ourselves, in our families, and our world. There is deep hope in this episode. It's about remembering that our story did not start at birth, and that by honouring and healing our earliest chapters, we can truly move from mediocre to miraculous. So let's now join Sara Devoy and Shirley Ward as they reveal how our birth scripts become life scripts and how, with awareness and love, we can begin to write a whole new one.
I have the honour of opening this discussion and this communication because Shirley Ward and I haven't had an intention, at least she always had the intention of speaking about birth scripts and how they become life scripts. So we did an absolutely amazing piece for about half an hour, all about birth scripts and life scripts, but this is actually the real thing. And the beauty about the real thing is you get the real experience of how each of us may be communicating and experiencing each other's life script. Because as you'll hear in the communications with Shirley, I was an elective C-section. So I had full intention of pressing the record button, and somehow I slipped and it didn't actually happen. So I was fully believing that this was recording, and I've just been told off by Shirley, if it's okay to say that.
No.
Or shall I say highlighted, that I might have gone a little bit dopey, because us C-sections sometimes get a little bit lost halfway through a process, because we might get sidelined by the anaesthetic, which is, I would just like to wave the cesarean-born flag to say it doesn't have to define us. It just means that sometimes we need a good friend like dear Shirley to wake us up and realize that, oh, I went a bit asleep there. And, I went into sort of, I sometimes say I just sort of phased out. And sure, it could be low blood sugar, but it's also sometimes happens to me at other times. So I'm fully present now, and I'm pulling myself back into my body, Shirley, and we are definitely recording, which is good news.
Splendid. We'll start again.
And could I tease you slightly by because you were talking so eloquently and in a very real and human way about your particular imprints, and I am sure right now the fact that I didn't record was blooming annoying for you.
Yes. Yes. Go in the phrase. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember what I said, and it actually was a very good recording.
Yes.
That wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
But you see, these are the sorts of things that happen in relationships and friendships, and it's underneath that birth script is behind what is happening. And if we understood it more, we wouldn't get so cross with each other. You know, I'm going to go straight into forceps because that you were cesarean, and I'm going straight into the forceps because I was the forceps. And of course, I'm going to have to remember what I said in the last recording, the one that was actually recorded, and what I said in the one that wasn't recorded, because I need to do it again. And I don't know which script that comes from.
Yes.
So we're looking at the forceps. And the forceps help the baby when it's in trouble. But it's a very painful help. And so one of the things I find it very difficult to accept help. And I find it difficult. I don't mind people caring, but even my home help or the nurse who comes to see that I'm okay said, Shirley, you're very independent. And that independence comes with the forceps delivery because of the fear of the pain of being helped. And so that's one of my scripts that goes with the forceps. But we've been looking at birth scripts become life scripts, and it is right from the time of conception. But many people go immediately to the type of birth they've had. That's why I'm talking about forceps. And this is where we started off working with Frank Lake. We were always working with the type of birth that somebody had.
Mm-hmm.
But what we've done at Amethyst is actually taken it back to conception, and so I will specifically be talking about the type of birth trauma with the type of birth that we've had. And I'm waffling now because I can't remember what I said after that.
Well, just to give you a second, Shirley, there to gather your thoughts, I feel that aspect of your linking the conception and what happened afterwards with the birth process is such an important piece, because it's not something that you're just bringing out of a hat and saying there could be a link. You're demonstrating clearly that actually that is the reality that you've seen with all the many cases and some of your colleagues' cases. You've seen countless times where there does seem to be a link between the early conception experience and then what may happen later on.
Oh, that's the link. That's the fractal. That is the word, the fractal. Yeah. The rhythm and pattern that happened at conception or preconception, it comes right the way through. Yeah. I don't know how it happens. I don't know how we remember it. I don't know whether it's conditioning, but it's there.
Because Thomas Verney, his latest book actually about somatic memory.
Who was that?
You were mentioning Dr. Thomas Verney before, and his most recent book on somatic memory, points very much to how we remember. But it's really brilliantly the way he.
I haven't seen that one. Haven't heard of that one.
That's
a new one for me.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about Thomas Verney's book from 1981, 89, 81, in the 80s anyway. The Secret Life of the Unborn Child.
Yes.
And I remember him coming, actually. He was on the Gay Byrne show, the Late Late Show, and many years ago. But he looks at significant relationships between birth trauma and violence, criminal behaviour, learning disabilities, epilepsy, hyperactivity, child alcohol, and drug abuse. Now, that sounds very negative, but we also know that there's a lot of good stuff as well. But it was in the 1980s that he was pointing this out then. But with the forceps, I think we were looking at very often it's let me out
Yeah.
because it's just too difficult, and there's no way out. And get out of my way. Get
Mhm.
out of my way.
Mm.
Um, you can just imagine the baby really in such terrible difficulties of not being able to get out. And I think we talked about the scripts that come out from the birth, where people go round and round in circles. They start something, can't finish it.
Yes.
And I had difficulty with the writing, because I started it, then I couldn't finish it, and I thought, no, it's too long.
Yes.
And so I did documents and papers that were published, and that was what the first book was about.
Mm.
Um,
And that's
of
see, I feel that's a fascinating thing for people to hear, Shirley. Just an active demonstration that if they listen between the lines, this is in a way your life is an expression of your birth
mm,
imprint, isn't it? The fact that you could
mm,
only do so much, you couldn't expand at that time. It wasn't safe to expand, so you could do the small piece, so you could do the small kind of
yeah,
article or whatever it was, and with all of that compression that you must have been experiencing in utero during the birth process. It's only now, when you've integrated a lot of these imprints, that you can step forward and, write much more fluidly.
yes. And I'm just thinking about the metaphor. The metaphors that come out at birth, because you're talking about contraction and expansion.
Yes.
I think it depends. Yes, there was a lot of contraction in the forceps delivery, and that's what I had a conception, because I said I felt there was so much that came in to the ovum from the sperm that there was too much. And I think, I don't know what I'm going to do with all this. Well, it's coming out now when I'm 80,
Mm-hmm.
but um, contraction and expansion. And I think a forceps delivery is possibly in contraction. And so a lot is held back. A lot is held back in the personality, um, and in what they will do and what they won't do. And very often with the forceps, don't tell me how to do it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'll do it my way, and I'll do it myself. It's safer.
Yes. Well, I mean,
You
today
know,
we've
and
demonstrated
and this
probably right.
this is coming out of that contraction, that metaphor of contraction and expansion.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering, I don't know whether I was born in contraction or expansion,
Mm.
and whether I was born in contraction and I've had to work on it in order to expand the knowledge that I had to be
Mm.
able to get it out. Um, because there's all the other things I can't make it on my own, and I've very often said, I can't do all this. I can't do this on my own.
Yeah.
Well, it was great because in Amethyst we had there was Carmel and Alison, and so we worked together, and
Yeah.
so each one of us could expand because we had the others to help.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, because
but
that
I,
dragging.
I'll do it myself. I'm safer, and I can hear Carmel saying that too.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. But that, I mean, my husband often says something like, "You're dragging and pulling me. I don't,
Yeah,
or you're trying to control me. I don't want to be controlled. I don't want to be dragged and pulled."
yeah. So what was he?
Well, he says he had a long pause at one point in his labor. He says it was a natural delivery. He didn't hear from his mum. He was forceps. But to be honest, he has a lot of kind of if you try and get him in a hole, or if he's working for an organization, he's not going to last there very long. I mean, he worked in the HSE for many, many years and
Yeah.
successful. But then he can get into quite a lot of arguments with organizations. So I
Hmm.
feel he's
Hmm.
fairly well demonstrating a forceps imprint there. He got some
Um,
conversion at the end of some kind, I feel.
yeah, and it's a very difficult, it's a very traumatic
Mm.
sort of birth, and I find myself if things go all right, I go,
Right.
you know, and
And they
and,
were
and you,
it was life-saving for you. Like, it sounds from what you
yeah,
described, like this is in 1940, whenever it was, like your mother was alone. She had to birth at the house. It was during the war. And
mm,
that's a big story.
yeah. Well, the bombs were coming down. I think Dad was in the house, but of course, in those days, Dad didn't go to the births. That's a fairly recent thing.
Yeah.
Um, but Yeah, they said the blood was all down the bedroom wall.
Mm.
The doctor was there. He's a very good doctor, but and a nurse, but there were no ambulances, and the bombs were dropping, and they just needed everybody at the hospital, which was fine. So that was me. I was conceived in the Battle of Britain
Mm.
and born in when the bombs were dropping.
Yes, but it sounds
Um,
like a real place of no choice, Shirley, there.
no,
That, you know,
no,
and
no.
it was basically now or never, and you had to be drawn out. Like there wasn't
Yes,
an
I
option.
had to be pulled
Yeah.
out, and because one thing when I do this, and if I get stressed or something is bothering me, oh God,
Uh-huh.
um, the the forceps person into adulthood can be very angry,
Hmm. Hmm.
and I know that one or two people have said they were frightened of my anger,
Mm.
uh, and I've had to get rid of it from not anger management, but some sort of anger management that came out in therapy, so that the anger came out because it didn't belong in
Yes.
the everyday. It belonged to what I was thinking of the people who were doing
Yeah.
the forceps delivery.
And of course, it can
But
mask as fear as well, can't it? I mean, that would be a terrifying experience for you as an neonate just to come out like that. I mean, that would
yeah,
be
I
terrifying,
think
and your
so.
mother must have been terrified.
Oh, I don't. Well, I don't think she. I don't think she ever got over it. Really, she
Yes.
always told me that she lost all of her teeth. She was when she was she 27? I don't know. I can't remember how old she was
Oh.
now. But one of the things I must say about this is with this, I've always found that it's linked with people who have migraine,
Ah. Uh-huh. Absolutely. Yeah. Tell me.
and and it's something that happened to me. I used to have severe headaches, never knew why, and never did anything about it. Um, but I did recover by going through the forceps delivery,
Right.
because the forceps delivery, the place of the forceps, is actually the same place as the migraine.
Mm.
And it must have been about 25 years ago now. Excuse me. But I had a young woman come to me, and she was leaving the country. She was going home, or she said, I only got a short time. She said, someone has advised I come to you to do some work with you. She said, I have migraine very, very badly, 2 or 3 days a week.
Mm.
I've been everywhere. I've been to consultants and surgeons and um, nutritionists, and they tell me not to eat cheese, and they tell me not to do this and tell me not to do that.
Mm.
And so, quite briefly, uh, she lay down on the mattress, and I sat beside her, and I put my hands on the place on the head
Mm.
where I could feel,
Yeah.
and this is intuition, I could feel really, excuse me, I need a drink.
Yeah.
Um, Sorry about this.
No problem.
I don't normally need to drink.
Mm.
I'm talking too much. Um, so I put my hands on her head, and she started making a noise, like, didn't want to scream, but made some noise. And so I kept my hands there, and I wasn't going to traumatize her. I just put it there, and she moved her head into my hands,
Mm.
and she said, "It's the exact place where I get the migraine."
Wow.
So she pushed her head against my hands, like she was doing the work. I wasn't
Even that
traumatizing her.
movement, very.
Yeah, she was doing it. Yeah,
Mm.
that head movement. And she let a few screams out, which was fine. And we finished that. And at the end of the session, she said she felt better, um, from the point of view that she'd let something out. So we booked her in for 6 sessions, and I was expecting her the next week, and she came, and she said to me, "I nearly didn't come."
Hmm.
I said, "Why? Was it so bad? I'm really, really sorry." "No," she said. "Every morning I've woken up expecting to have a headache or a migraine," she said, "and it hasn't been there."
Wow.
She said, "And I've waited all day for it to arrive," she said, "and it hasn't come."
Yeah.
So she said, I haven't had a migraine since before I came to you.
Mm.
So having booked her in for 6 sessions, I said, well, look, you just decide. I said, I'm here if you need me. Well, I didn't see her again, but I heard from her.
Mm.
And she said, Shirley, it just isn't there.
Wow.
She said, it's just extraordinary. She said, you went to the depth, really, of the depth that the forceps went,
Yes.
and it's released something.
Wow.
And so she went back to the UK or wherever it was she was going, and heard from it about 6 months later. No migraines. It had completely healed.
Yes. Well, that's a
And
wonderful example.
well, it's not me or the therapist being a healer. It's the technique
Yes.
and the knowledge.
Yes.
Yes, if you're going to clap somebody's head when they're just about to be born in metal, what do you
Mm.
expect to happen?
And that,
It's really medical intervention,
yes,
one
and
of the
that's the
medical
first touch,
interventions.
isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not the medical people's fault. They do, they're doing their best to help you and get you out.
Mm-hmm.
But there we are. That was something else, and it wasn't just her. I've worked with a number of people, well,
Mm.
a fair number of people, who've come to me with the same problem.
Yes.
And
So I'm
and it,
hearing, Shirley, that you're not saying that these interventions are wrong by any means.
no, no,
And many times they're life-saving, and anyway, they do leave an imprint that we can work with. So, I'm sure there's people listening that maybe have either been birthed themselves in various ways,
mm,
or maybe they have
mm,
family of their own. And it's even
mm,
like, as you say, if we know, like I can think
mm,
of, say, people that might have tactile defensiveness. I mean, even,
mm,
one of my daughters is quite tactile defensive at times. She used to bat me away, push me away. And even though she was born naturally at home, there was a time when I physically touched her head when I was birthing her, and we were kind of egging her on, and we were kind of having a lot of discussion around it. And I just
mm,
think that she needed more time. I think she was in a position that was very tricky for her. I think she was
mm,
possibly posterior, and she was
mm,
taking a long time to come down. And
mm.
yeah, she's quite, has spent quite a bit of her childhood being a little bit oppositional about touch. And I think she's working through it really well. But,
That's good
you know,
because you understand, and I think the children, of people who do this work, they look and listen. We think we're mad, but they also know there's some truth in it.
yeah, I mean, there is a madness to this work, though. I think we'll own that, Shirley. But
Well, I must be blinking mad if I've been in it 53 years,
yes. But, but even like, just to sort of turn it around for a moment, like, I think people cannot doubt your particular strengths, Shirley, which if you think of your forceps delivery, what do you feel is the upturn or the positive thing about being born by forceps? Like, what kind of energy and characteristics did it offer you?
I never give up.
Yeah.
I don't give up. If there's something I got to do, I get on with it.
Yes.
I think that's the main thing.
That's an
But
amazing.
I do have to be aware of the anger. I have to make a really positive um, effort not to be angry
Yeah.
because it's my anger. It's part of my birth process. I don't know why I had to have it. But I think Rosalind answered this. She said, Shirley, if you're going to be a healer, you need to be a killer. And by
Wow.
that, she meant that you have to kill the disease.
Right.
And so when I say I don't give up, it doesn't matter whatever I'm working with people, we carry on
Yes.
if
Yeah.
they want it.
Yes, if they're willing, absolutely, and they've got
If
that.
they want it. And there's been things in my life which I think the forceps delivery and the painful birth throughout the whole journey, I've had to really work on getting rid of things I didn't need.
Yes. Yes.
Um, and I'm just looking at this was a little book. Yeah,
Okay.
can you see it?
Oh, I see. Birth and relationships. I got that one.
Birth and relationships.
Yep.
This came out a long time ago, but this was a little gold mine of information.
Mhm.
I don't know where
Is
they
it
are now.
Sondra Ray?
Sondra and Bob Medell, and
Yeah.
I think 1987.
Hmm.
But they were the first to bring this stuff into relationships.
Yes.
But they said babies born with the help of forceps had their heads scrunched, screwed, twisted, and pulled out of the womb.
Hmm.
The rest of the body came along for the ride.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I haven't read that bit before, but yeah, the rest of the body came along for the ride.
And there's probably a bit of
Uh,
a mirror here for those that are born by ventouse. That's perhaps more of a modern situation. They'd often try the ventouse first of all, wouldn't they, before they go for
right.
the forceps?
Yeah.
Whereas
Um,
that suction cap,
there's
similar
and
pattern.
then she talks about migraine as well. Forceps babies often develop migraine headaches,
Mm.
and even worse, life itself can become one huge headache for them. But when you work through it, you can get through.
Yes.
Um,
But it's even, as you say, being able to name the origin space of these things, isn't it?
oh yeah,
It's
yes,
even having a sense of when it
yeah,
happened, when these imprints were laid down. It's so liberating
yeah.
rather than
But you see,
traumatizing.
yeah, but you see, if you get two forceps in a relationship or friendship or marriage or whatever it might be, um, they really dislike being controlled,
Hmm. Hmm.
both of them, and manipulated.
Yes.
Uh, and I've often said to people, if they were divorcing or something, have you looked at your birth? Have you
Yes.
looked at your birth script, particularly the forceps? Because you can fight. You really fight because you're not going to be told what to do. You're not going to do what somebody else is telling you to do.
Mm.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah.
And Carmel and I are friends, and we are both forceps. By God, there can be some pretty heated arguments sometimes.
Great.
And and sometimes it's very painful. It's very painful when there's an argument and she goes one way and I go mine, and that's it. We don't see each other for a few weeks. Um, it's but if you're in a relationship, with husband and wife or partners or whatever, they're together. Um, look at it. Look to see what your birth was, and
Absolutely. It's
if
a
it,
brilliant key. It's a brilliant key. But tell us about another imprint. Which one would you like to pick?
well, from forceps.
Well, it's
Oh,
a
oh no. Um, well, have your cesarean?
yes.
Have we done that yet?
We haven't this
Oh,
time
did we
round.
do it we did that in the last
We did a
recording, didn't
little
we?
bit at the beginning, but yeah, I mean, I was elective C-section. So, there's many stories I could say that I notice in my life. One of them particularly I notice, which can catch me out again and again. Like if I'm going to be somewhere, for example, at 3 o'clock, at 2 o'clock,
Like today.
like today.
Like today.
Yes, this actually happened earlier on. I'll be all about it at 2 o'clock. I'll be looking at the watch and saying, yes, 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 I've got to get ready. I must get ready. I will be on time this time. And sometimes something gets in the way. And a very extraordinary situation happened today that I was, in the diary, nothing, this was going to happen. We were going to happen. But then surprisingly, a client came on the wrong day. And
That's what happened today. Yeah.
that's what happened today, which made me a little bit late, if not half an hour late, for this arrangement. So it's just an example of being sidelined by situations. And then sometimes, knowing that I'm motoring in this direction and then, oh, what's this? Something's kind of blocking my way, or something's getting, overtaking my energy. And I notice that if I'm, planning, for example, to cook a meal, I might sometimes leave it way too late and then get exhausted and look to be rescued, hoping that maybe one of my kids will finish it off or my husband will do the washing up. It's like going through the whole sequence alone is sometimes quite challenging for me. And, you know, there's a particular part that perhaps we could be with as well about, in my case, my mother was fully medicated, and I didn't get to be held by her. And there was all sorts of, you know, things that I didn't get at that stage. And that is a big imprint, I feel, as well, the postpartum imprint, if we don't get that holding and that attachment. You know, regardless of how the birth was, that's the big piece. I mean, we could give attention to that in more detail another time if you want, but
Well, I mean, if people are listening and don't really know what happens in cesarean, there's no vaginal push.
yes,
You know, you lift it out. Somebody is doing it for you.
yes,
Everything is done for you.
yeah.
Um,
And you also don't
which
get to,
sounds
I'm going to say, I'm getting angry now, it is good. I don't get to choose my time, Shirley. So that is a big thing for me. That, you know, I have this odd relationship with time, as has been demonstrated today, but it's not just today. If I decide I'm really, really going to be there at 3, at 3, at 3, it's sometimes quite difficult for me, and it ends up being a little bit afterwards. And it's this odd situation. I don't seem to be in charge of my time sometimes. So I have to work with making time my friend.
well, you see, and I'm a Libran, and I cannot be left waiting. I cannot bear being
Right,
waiting for someone. You know,
right.
sometimes I'll sit in the car and Carm was shopping, and I think, oh, how much longer is she going to be? You know, but that's me. That's my Libran bit coming out because I don't like be kept waiting.
And, you
And
know,
and you know, and it's something. Alison was wonderful. She would sit. She was a Pisces, and she would sit in the car for hours waiting.
and do you feel,
But not
Shirley,
me.
that's all about the Libran, or would it also be, if we go back to the birth sequence there, you know, that it was certainly not safe for you to wait. You know,
Mm,
perhaps you'd run out of time. We don't know, but
yeah,
it had to be now. So there's all of those
mm,
different things. Like
it
it was,
is.
and for me,
Yeah.
I might have the opposite thing, that it's not actually safe for me to rest. So I keep busying myself.
Mm,
The C-section knows that something's about to happen. So, you know, and it all happens in a rush. So, you know, those kind of imprints go very deep, don't they? And it takes us a while to unravel them
oh yeah.
and be with them.
Oh well, you know, we're born, and then we spend the rest of our lives sorting out why do I do this and why did I do that,
Yeah.
and why did they not do this to us, and you know.
And there is a lot of that. And yet I'd like to highlight the potential as well, as you did, because I feel one of my gifts of the C-section, which I rather celebrate, is I love bringing people together. And I've always had this dream, and I tried it in different work experiences, and it didn't always work. But I'd always had
Mm,
this dream of a dream team, of working with a dream team. And I have to say, you know, here, even working with you in a team kind of
mm,
spirit
mm.
is very fulfilling for me. So there is
Oh,
that
good,
aspect that,
good.
you know, the C-sections bring people together, you know. So I'm going
Mm,
to take that as a positive.
wonderful. Well, that's great because that's a new one for me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you see, you've got a forceps here. Who's going to kick back?
Uh-huh.
'Cause-
Yeah. Yeah.
but if only we understood as a race, as humankind, that birth has this effect on us, and we wouldn't be criticizing people as much. We wouldn't be making comments about them because it's not their fault.
Hmm.
This is something of nature, and if you're into past lives and karma and effect, it's so deep.
Hmm.
You know, people are looking at this. I don't want to hear this. If they want to live on a superficial level, then let them. They're missing an enormous amount of richness in their life
Mm.
because it's understanding humanity, and we're looking at what was happening 12,000 years ago to humankind and how they were developing, and how we're now in this age with artificial um, intelligence and spaceships and looking for planets to live on. You know, it's enormous.
Mm.
Anyway,
But
was it?
surely it's probably a topic for another time. But this idea that, do we choose our birth? I mean, like I certainly feel that my birth was a gift. I wouldn't be so engaged with this. I wouldn't have met you back in the 90s if I hadn't had a deep fascination for this. And I'm just wondering for you, do you feel that if you'd had a sort of so-called orgasmic birth and you'd arrived on a cloud of cotton wool, do you think, I mean, do you think you'd be doing what you're doing?
No, because I think I said on one of the things, I felt chosen to do this work.
Yes.
Yes, I chose to do it, but on the depth of it, yeah, I've been asked to do it, and I can't stop.
Yeah.
I can't stop what I'm doing. I mean, it's 6 months. Well, I haven't been well over the last 6 months, but I I can't stop because
Yes.
there's too much to teach.
Yes.
And I'm learning. I'm still learning all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to you, I'm writing book 4 at the moment, and I'm writing about 10 or 12,000 years of world civilizations and human development,
Mm-hmm.
according to the zodiac signs
Yeah.
of each 2,100 years being a zodiac sign. We're in Pisces at the moment, but moving into Aquarius. Um, this is all there as well.
Yes.
And yeah, why am I writing about this? Because birth is involved. If you want your birth chart, if you want your astrology chart done, it has to start with the year you were born, the time you were born, where you were born. It's all to do with birth.
Yes.
And it's a map of the planets and stars in the cosmos the second you were born.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so this interrelationship, this intercommunications, I can't stop it.
Yeah.
And there's always something else going in. And birth, the concept of being conceived, of conception and birth, fits in to the universe. It fits into us. We are in the universe, but we are the universe. We're part of the universe, and the knowledge that we have is incredible if we want to use it.
I hope you include in the book, Shirley, even the sort of, I'm just sort of, my mind's kind of buzzing about it. Like if we were born early, or if we were born, for example, I was probably born 2 weeks early or something like that. So I would have been a Leo. And I'm thinking, ooh, I would have liked to have been a Leo. So, I'm just wondering about those kinds of things that you could extrapolate in the book or talk to us about another time. But there's so many.
Well, I'm talking about, I was talking to Rosalind a few weeks ago, and she's very interested in the fact that the new Pope has chosen the name Leo, whether he did it consciously or unconsciously, because Leo has a part to play in Aquarius.
Right.
The sort of, I don't understand astrology, and I wouldn't dare to, but there's something there that perhaps he's chosen the name quite unconsciously because Leo will help to heal part of the Aquarian age. And he's already doing it. He's been doing it for years anyway. But it was just a very interesting comment that she made about, I wonder why he chose the name Leo.
Wow. Wow, it is fascinating. Yeah, but it's very potent name, isn't it? Really potent name.
Yeah, but it's it all links. It's all interconnected.
Yes, absolutely. And so, Shirley, so we could round off right now if you want to tell us, like, which particular one of your books could people hear and read a lot more about their birth imprints? Because I'm sure they're all going to be on the edge of their seats, wanting to look at their own birth scripts and think about.
Well, we haven't. We've only done. I haven't done all of them, but this one,
Healing Birth.
Healing Birth. Was that the first one or the second one? I think it's the first one.
It was the first one.
And the fractal waves. I love that one.
Which one?
I love the fractal book.
Oh, that one, yes.
Yeah, that's so meaningful for me. Even this concept of fractal waves, I kind of love it.
Yeah.
Because it's like what I suppose some people have said to me as well. So, oh, I need to do this. I need to get that done. But I feel that book gives me great courage because it's as though our patterns will not let us get away with not getting it done. They'll keep on coming back to haunt us in a way, won't they? So it's like we'll keep on circling around the same challenge until we actually say, oh, right.
Yes. Have we got time to do anything about phobias?
Oh, Oh, well, let's make that I mean, yeah, let's do it, but
It comes in anyway, and there's eating disorders. Maybe I need to do that another time, but it was the cord. You mentioned something about the cord
oh
last
yeah.
time.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
we'll leave it there, but I haven't got all the information in that I needed to put into that one.
Oh,
On
thank you so much.
when they play the next one, yes. All right.
This episode was packed with thoughtful dialogue and heartfelt wisdom that pushes the boundaries of what we understand about human development and consciousness. Whether you're new to Shirley Ward's work or a lifetime follower, you're sure to leave this conversation with fresh insights. One reassuring aspect from this discussion was the potential for healing. It's never too late, Shirley reassured us. Good parenting, nurturing environments, and conscious effort can mitigate these prenatal traumas. As humanity becomes more conscious, understanding and addressing prenatal psychology will become integral to healthier and more balanced lives. Shirley's wisdom and experience is available to you by going to shirleyward.org, and Sara Devoy's expert craniosacral services can be found at saradevoycraniosacral.com. You'll find links to Sara Devoy and Shirley Ward below, as well as the links to all of Shirley's books on Amazon. And if you need help, please get in touch with us or Shirley directly. So until next time, blessings from myself, Ahonu, and from Aingeal Rose.